whatever you may want to say, or enablers. There's the kind that just put on a show from day one. They let you know what they're all about. They're going to interview everybody, talk to everybody. They're going to do almost like a impartial show. Now, I have yet to see really an impartial show with the ones that host these lying informants, because to me, when it's impartial, you would represent both sides. You would bring both sides on. You wouldn't allow your guests to attack people personally, because that has nothing to do with content. What do attacks have to do with content, right? What does slander on somebody's reputation has to do with content? To me, it has nothing to do with it. So if they truly were trying to put together a show that was based on, let's just say, their stories, I think before those programs came out, those episodes came out, they would pretty much lay down the ground rules about no attacking, no insulting people, no bad-mouthing people, no calling people names. Listen, people could tell stories without insulting people and without attacking people, but from what I've seen, it seems every single lying informant on here chooses not to do that. They take the opportunity to tell their story, to get digs, and to get insults at those from their past life that maybe wronged them or they don't like, whatever it may be. Countless of examples of that. And it's human nature, I guess, but if you're, on their shows, it's one thing. They're free to do whatever they want. It's their show. They could abuse anybody, say whatever they want to do, say whatever they want to say, and that's how it goes. But if a host or somebody's trying to come across as a professional, trying to say they just want to create a professional type atmosphere and engagement, once it starts going down to the insults and the abuse and attacking people that really don't have the ability to counteract the attacks or to disprove the claims, I just don't see that as a fair and impartial interview. Excuse me. I just don't see it that way. I'm sure people would disagree with me on that, and that could be up for debate. So when I saw, let's just talk about the larger creators versus the smaller creators. When you have guys like Vlad, things like that, you kind of know what they're all about, right? Vlad puts all these guys on. He makes no bones about it. He doesn't act like he doesn't like informants. He doesn't even go down that route from what I see. That's just what he does, right? He gets them in all different genres, in the rapper genre and the organized crime genre. He's platformed a lot of different people, and some were informants, some aren't informants. I know lately he was going after just putting on a lot of these organized crime related informants because why, folks? It's clicks and views and revenue, and that's what I'm really going to go down to get into. When you think of a lot of these smaller channels, if you ever notice, when they start out, if they don't have a strong core belief one way or the other, like if they're not somebody who holds that as a strong constitution like myself, where I just believe I don't agree with informing, I want nothing to do with it. When you have that, your own inner gut will guide you on what's acceptable and what's not. When you don't have that inside you, you're kind of open game, right? And you'll notice they'll start out maybe interviewing informants. Then they'll hook up with somebody or befriend somebody who's against informants or doesn't like informants. Then they'll start to sway towards, oh, you know what? Maybe I don't like informants. I'm not going to platform them. Then you flash forward a couple months later, then they're back to doing informants. For me, that's why I said earlier, when I see what they're all about, when they come out and they're automatically platforming and open to them, and I see how they talk about them, and I see comments they make, that tells me what I'm dealing with, and that just tells me the type of person it is. And that's the type of person that really doesn't seem to have a strong position on the matter one way or another. Now, they could say things to the blue in the face, right, folks? How many people do we know that talk a good game, but their actions don't really follow through on what they're saying? And we see that, they could come out, oh, I hate informants. This is no good. It's not good what they do to families. That's not right. This is not right. And then the following week they have them on, and, so what does that tell you, right? I mean, they can't have that stronger belief because, as I said, anybody who has a strong belief, the only person that would stop you from doing certain things is yourself, because it's just not something you could relate to, not something you could bring yourself to do. Now, when you're up in the air and one way or another you really don't care, then you could be swayed either way. It depends on, I guess, when they're looking at these things from a position of business, and that's what 99.9% of YouTubers look at it, right? They're trying to make a few extra dollars, and there's nothing wrong in that. It's a great, that's why it's America, right? It's a great opportunity to make revenue with minimal amount of I don't want to say work and effort, but I just mean with minimum amount of resources, right? You could just get a mic and a computer and you're ready to go to start a business. So that's more appropriate. So if they're doing it for a business, they're doing the figures in their heads. As I've made very clear on YouTube, informants are the quote unquote in thing, right? People want to be around these informants. They want to hear their stories. So it's very popular on YouTube, on social media, for people to listen to them and see every episode they're on and watch all the material. So the smaller channels who are looking to make revenue, increase clicks, increase views, they're going to chase that. They're not going to get that kind of clicks and views if they're anti-lying informant, right? Because let's face it, the way I believe and those who follow We Push Back on YouTube now, not in real life. In real life, from my experience, it's a whole different ballgame. People are not as accepting of informants in real life. On YouTube and stuff, people are much more accepting of it. So if you have the way of thinking that is against that and you just don't align with that, you're always going to be in the minority. You're not going to get the hundreds of thousands of subscribers. It's just not going to happen. So again, it goes back to what's inside of you. What choice are you going to make? Are you going to accept that, okay, these are my beliefs, it is what it is. If I don't grow, I don't grow, but I'm going to stick to what I believe in, and I'm going to try to push my word and get as much exposure to what I'm talking about as possible.